You know, the biggest revelation I had last quarter is something I wish I started 10 years ago, and it was my personal brand. And it's not about like likes or followers, it's about trust, positioning, and opening up opportunities that wouldn't exist otherwise. The truth is, your personal brand is your reputation. And I believe in today's market is your most valuable asset. So um, I think if there's one person who understands this very deeply is today's guest, Pascal Bachmann. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm excited to talk about not something I just believe is super important for all entrepreneurs, but it's a passion of mine. And I believe, if we truly understand what a brand is, a personal brand, it can be a game changer.
Absolutely. And before we begin, I want to just say that you are a global strategist, a speaker, a high performance mentor, and you've helped thousands of entrepreneurs scale not only their business, but their influence. And I think that, and you've been featured on Forbes, you've built multiple 6, 7, 8-figure ventures. I'm very, very excited to speak to you today because personally I have so many questions, but I know that people that have been with me on this journey of podcasting and talking and building up personal branding, they're like, what do you think? Why should we do this? So before we dive into that branding genius, why did you start working in this field?
It's a good question. I think the why is always important. And my personal why is, it's I believe, a combination of three things. I've built 8 businesses, 4 different industries, and I had ups and downs like all of us do as entrepreneurs and in life, of course. But I came to the point where I realized people follow me and trust me because of me, not because of what I did in the past. So I started to realize how important I am in the journey. It's not what I did, it's not my service, it's not my product. That's just what they purchased, but they purchased from me and they started to trust me. So that was a realization I had with every business I've built. That's something I've accumulated always to the next business. And then number 2, I came to the US like 18 years now, back and forth. But after my 8-figure bankruptcy in Switzerland, I came to the US. I needed to rebuild. I went on Google my name, and I saw another guy with the same name, Pascal Bachmann. And I thought, like, that's not me. Like, who is the guy and how do I get rid of that guy? He dominates completely everything. And this is where I started again to realize how important it is not just for them, my potential client, to trust me, but to also how important it is that prospects actually see and experience online what I want them to experience. Like, I wanted them to see me. I wanted them to see right away who I am, what I do, what I stand for, my values and all that stuff. And there was another guy with the same name and I was not even visible. I was invisible. That was number 2. Number 3, and that's a very important point. It's more the ethical side. I started to see how many fake gurus are out there online. And coming from the health industry, I realized how many people in pain trust these fake gurus, give them their time and money, because they just trust them because they appear as authorities and experts. So they trust them, and often they just get scammed. These people are often not authorities and not experts. They are there for the sake of their ego, for the sake of money, and they don't realize, especially in the health industry, that the person who purchases and trusts that authority maybe is a father of 5 kids, maybe have a company with 30 employees. So the result or damage that is created by following wrong advice can destroy so much things, and it has a ripple effect. And I just wanted to because of that, to highlight true authorities and experts, people that I see, okay, what they do is valuable. I believe in their vision. I understand their mission. I want them to dominate on Google because these people are authorities that the majority society can trust. They are validated. They provide true value. Trust them versus the others. So these three things brought me to the place of, okay, I want to be part of the journey and build these authorities so that, yeah, I just believe it makes a change.
I have a funny story regarding my name. When you Google me or when you Google on YouTube, there's an Indian person that also has my same name, and he's much more popular on YouTube, and he does dancing. But I think that I have a lot of Indian followers is because of him. And I've gotten messages like, "Where's the dancing?" And sometimes when I have to tell people, I'm like, when you look on YouTube, I'm not the dancer. I'm the one that talks about, it's just a funny situation.
Yeah.
But we kind of like, some people are like, how did you grow so fast? I'm like, maybe because I have the same name as a famous dancer in India. And then I got a message saying like, where's the dancing? And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I didn't know what he was referring.
Funny.
And the third point that you mentioned also, I thought it was really interesting of, the barrier to entry to become a key opinion leader was very low before. It was like anybody with their phone could just start talking like, I'm sure you've heard of apple cider vinegar, the case around this influencer who lied about having cancer and then giving false advice to people and then causing tremendous damage to people who believed her to be true. And your mission is so powerful because it's like before the real authority didn't think that they should be online. They would be like, I'm already a prominent doctor, or I'm already an expert, or I'm already I don't need to be online. So you are saying, you have to be. It's your responsibility to be, and I can help you get there.
Exactly, and I would even go one step further. Most people, including entrepreneurs, always ask, what is in it for me? Right? Like clients come and buy something because they want to have a benefit. That's why they spend money. Many entrepreneurs ask also, like, okay, this is what I do for business. I do coaching or I sell or whatever I do. What is in it for me? What's the profit I can make? But a true entrepreneur, in my opinion, turn that question around and don't ask what is in it for me. He or she asks what is in me for it. Because then you come from the place of purpose. You come from the place of you truly want to have impact with what you do. And if this is your mission, then it should become an obligation, not just a responsibility. It should be your obligation to be out there and serve as many people as possible, because that gives you the opportunity to have more impact, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you say visibility without credibility is just noise. And I couldn't agree more. You cannot just say things. What are the biggest mistakes that you see entrepreneurs making when trying to build their personal brand?
One of the biggest mistakes is they go out without a strategy. There are different components. A true brand, to maybe go back to the foundation first, a true personal brand is the expression of who you truly are. Who are you? And this is where most people, not just entrepreneurs, start to struggle. Like they come with a job description. I'm a podcaster, or I'm an entrepreneur, or I'm a mom, I'm a dad, I'm whatever. That's not who you are, that's what you do. Like if we say the day that when I die will come, it's fair to say I drop my body or I die one day. And we all do, obviously. But if we then go in and say, okay, who is I? Who is that I who drops the body? Who is that I who dies. Who are you really in the core? What are the core values? Do you live them by how you think, act, and feel every single day in as many situations daily, not just in business and life? Do you really express who you are? And that's a personal brand, and we all have one. And now the next step is really to then come up with a strategy and ask the question, okay, if I express who I am in my core, who do I serve? Like, who is my customer? And that comes with a very clear profile of who I serve, an ICP that we can define, but also with a qualifier and a list of maybe who I don't want to work with. Many people just go for this is what I want, but to be clear, okay, this is what I don't want is as important. And once I have that, to then really go and say, okay, what do I want them, my potential client, to believe about me? Because that can be designed. That's the result of a strategy. I can make them believe what I want them to believe about me. And this is what politics does, right? They can make us believe what they want us to believe by where they publish, when they publish, what they publish. And the majority of society, they read, they hear, they see, and based on that, they start to believe something because they've seen it, they hear it. Authorities talk about it. It must be the truth. We have the same power, and I hate to say that, but in my opinion, it is the truth. Often in politics, society gets manipulated by doing that, and I want to replace that word manipulation into influence. We can use the same strategy and influence our potential clients by make them believe what we want them to believe so that they take action so that we can have more impact. Because if they believe what we want them to believe, they become clients so that we can have impact. And that's why it is so important for me to pick and choose the right clients. In case if I work with clients, I need to be sure, okay, I'm aligned with their core values, I believe in their vision, I see that, like all that stuff is important from an ethical standpoint. But to come back to your question, I believe the biggest mistake is really not to dig deep enough and to be clear, who am I, who do I serve, and what do they need to believe about me in order to create that relationship of trust where we can together work on something that creates impact.
I love it. I think one of the biggest misconception is you just are who you are. But if you don't think about strategy, I think you become sort of like a leaf in the wind. You go wherever, and people are not clear. What's one truth about personal branding that most people don't want to hear?
I think you said it just now. Many people think you are just who you are, and I believe this is the one thing many people don't want to believe. You are everything after I am. Like if we say stuff like I'm not good at that, yes, true, but not because it's a fact, because you just created a frequency and an energy that where it fires back. You're going to experience exactly what you say. Words have energy, and if I say I'm not good in this and that, and online, if we go out without a strategy and we say all these things that we are actually not want to be identified with because we are not that, we create different beliefs, different perceptions, and we are not known for that one thing. We all know a lot. And maybe I dive into that right away based on your question, because this is what many entrepreneurs struggle. We are entrepreneurs for a reason, right? So we are good in most of the time more than one thing. And now we become business owners based on our passion. And we want to turn our passion into money. And many entrepreneurs start to struggle because they realize along the way that the passion, the reason why they became entrepreneurs shrink down to an activity of 10 to 20%. Now I have to do all the things I never wanted to do. I have to do the bookkeeping, I have to do websites and funnels and social media, like all those things that I'm not good at, or I don't want to do it because I don't enjoy it. And it has nothing to do with the main reason why I decided to become an entrepreneur, but it's part of the business. And then we start hiring people and we build a team and we go back to what we actually enjoy. And now somehow we have the desire to pretty much share everything we know in all areas and directions. And I think that's a big mistake, and I'm guilty of that myself. For example, I did a 100-day water fast. I did not eat for 100 days, just black coffee and water. Most people consider that it's not possible. Also, all the doctors that took my blood, say it's not possible. I say, well, check my colon, take my blood. I went and do that. So I started to talk about that stuff on social media without a strategy. Now I'm the health guy, the fasting guy, or I'm on keto, I'm the keto guy, but actually I'm the branding guy. And like, who are you now? Now I spread all my opinions like most people on all the platforms, and I'm not known to be the guy for that one thing. And I think this is a big mistake that many don't want to hear because of fear. They believe that if I am only focused on that one thing, I need to let go everything else that I'm also good at and I like to do, which is not true. The only thing we need to do is we need to create that front-end offer, and we need to become that person that is known for that one thing, which is the entry point into our ecosystem, so that we then, once they know, like, and trust us, we can offer them all the other thing in the back end. We can say, hey, by the way, we do this and this too. Like, it doesn't mean that we need to let go and stop doing other things, but we need to make decisions. What do I want to be known for in the front end? And I believe that's one thing that most people struggle with, and they don't want to hear that because it's fear.
I would say it's fear and it's confusion, because I think there's a lot of people who start doing social, like I'm going to give my own case. I don't like social media. Social media to me was like, I don't understand why I have to show my life. I like to live my life. You know, I don't want to be on a platform and blah, blah, blah. I was like very anti social media. And when I first started getting into or thinking of personal branding, they were like, you have to do social media. And then immediately in my brain, I was like, oh, I have to show that I'm traveling. I have to show that I'm eating. I have to show that I am, I don't know, doing at the gym. And then someone helped me with this and said, no, you have to show them what you want them to see. And that really like broke my mind. I was like, oh, this is so cool. I could focus on one thing. I could just talk about one specific thing. And I've done the mistake of like starting to talk about, because I'm in the investing world, so I do investing world is so big, so it's sometimes I talk about one thing and then another thing, and I've had beautiful mentors and not even and friends who've called me and be like, Ahmed, you're talking about too many things. Let's narrow it down to who you are. So I really think you're right. There's a fear to put yourself out there. There's a fear to be known for only one thing, but I think that's the way. That's like you're saying, that's where results start coming in.
Right.
What does it actually mean to be an authority in your space today? Like, what would you categorize as an authority? And is it the content? Is it results? Is it perception? Or is there like something deeper?
I think it's two main things: impact and trust. Like, an authority and an expert is someone you should trust. Once they trust, they believe you, they trust in your advice. Therefore, you can have impact in their lives. And this is, to come down to these two things. And I believe, especially in today's world, trust is one of the most important things we should focus on, because everybody's the best. Everybody is going out. Everybody have an opinion about something. And you just said it with social media. Like I, for example, stay away from the phone. I'm not on any of the social medias. I don't do anything. I have two kids. One lives in Switzerland, the other one in Thailand. They both know if there's an emergency, call my wife. I'm not looking at my phone. I'm just avoiding that. And still, do I believe I need to be on social media? So I created a solution. I create my content when I'm alone in my studio. I upload it to my team and they do whatever they do. I have no idea what they do and I don't care. I just trust in them because we discussed the strategy. But yeah, I think what you just said is important. What do you want them to see comes back to the strategy. How do you want to be perceived? And that's in our control. We can create that picture. We can create that belief based on our decision. But if we don't think about it, we talk about everything. And that can create what you said before, confusion. They are confused. And if we are confused because we didn't make a clear decision, what do we expect them to be if they come across our social profiles, right? So I think, trust is a factor that as more as we see someone talking about that one thing from different angles, we see that person as an authority, an expert in that field. We listen to advice, we start to apply things, and these things that come from true authorities, and we apply them, create results, and have impact in our lives. And that's a cycle, a circle that grows with time, because great results and great impact is something that people share, and this is how we expand.
How do you build trust online?
I think mainly because through sharing your truth. I absolutely don't believe that there's right and wrong. There's just your way, and your way is always right, and it doesn't need to be right for someone else. I think that's, again, the decision. It is okay to polarize. It is okay to piss someone off just because they don't like what we say and how we say it. It's all okay, because it's, at the end, it's about my opinion and my learnings and my truth. And I believe I always call it the invisible word. Everybody feels it, nobody sees it. The intention and the truth of something that we give from us carries a frequency, and that frequency is received always. And it matches or it doesn't, and both is fine. And I focus or work with the people who resonate with my intention and my truth, and this is where trust is built.
I love the answer. Very, very profound. And after coaching thousands of people and working with a ton of entrepreneurs, different type of people, what separates someone who is going to build something truly influential and a brand, and then what separates the people that just post and hope, perhaps?
Yeah. Hope is something that separates big time, because hope is a bad strategy, or not a strategy at all. But I think it comes back to maybe 3 or 4 pillars. First of all, the why. Why am I doing what I do? How clear am I on my why? Is it just something I came up with because I read the book from Simon Sinek, always start with why, and I just, without a lot of intention, just come up with something because I now believe I have to have a why? Or is it a why that I really go and dig deep and really ask myself the right questions, and that takes time. I recommend there to always ask why 4 to 5 times. If I give myself an answer to something, I question my answer and ask why, and then why at the next answer, why at the next, to really go down to the core. Number 2 is the intention. Like, I know why I do the business, but what the intention of that why, what do I want to achieve with that? Again, back to the question, do I ask what is in it for me, or do I ask what is in me for it? What is the impact I want to have? Is bridged or combined with the why. Impact, I always say impact-driven leaders who come from the place of purpose is what I'm looking for, because then it becomes fun. And that brings me to number 3. I believe those who really make impact and grow and create success is if they can be who they truly are everywhere all the time. It comes back to the core values. Like, if I know who I am, and again, if I am giving myself permission to be who I am all the time in how I think, act, and feel, and I express myself, my identity in action means I am on mission. But on mission towards where? I need a very clear destination. I'm on mission to achieve my vision. So I need clarity. Who am I? Where am I going to? What's my destination? Am I on mission every single day with my decisions? And that includes number 3. Am I able to express myself in regards of living my core values? Am I brave enough to say no if it doesn't align with my core values? In other words, with who I am. My core values, for example, are love, harmony, fun. I ensure that everything I do, I love what I do, and I do what I love. I ensure I have harmony in what I do. I stay away from any kind of drama. And it needs to be fun. If it's not fun, why should I do it? I cannot be who I am. If I just do it for the sake of money or to please someone, I cannot live my core values. Love, for example, doesn't mean I love the other person so much that I do everything for them. What about self-love? How much do I love myself to do something I don't truly enjoy to make someone other happy, in other words, to please someone? So these things are, I think, 3 things that are super important that create success, and not just success and impact, but also personal fulfillment. Because if I do it for other reasons, the day will come when we are not satisfied, we just not fulfilled. We may have all the money in the world, we have the status, we have a famous brand, but are we truly fulfilled if we are alone at night and go to bed?
I think it's so profound. Influence is, in the way that you're describing it, brought me into, or reminded me of responsibility. You know, it's not only I want to do this, it's I need to be who I am. I love that part where you said you need to be who you are and live your core values and be brave enough to say no, because that's how people are really going to build that trust with you. And it's just how you can really differentiate yourself from everybody else that's just doing noise. They're going to be like, no, I know Pascal. Pascal is like they kind of feel they have a relationship with you because you've always been authentic. Let's talk about positioning, and perhaps you can give us an example of someone that you've worked with that did it very well, or perhaps someone that did it very poorly. Maybe the one very well is easier to talk about. How can an entrepreneur figure out what makes them truly different when there's a crowded market?
How can someone make or differentiate themselves in a crowded market? 2 examples. I start with the bad one.
Thank you.
And again, I'm guilty of that myself. I remember back then, when we are not brave enough to really express our experience, our belief, our doubts, we can share ups and downs, doubts and questions and fears. That builds trust. We are one of them. Like, we are human beings. If we are brave enough to actually do that, we create something impactful. Most people, however, and again, I'm guilty there too, they start with social media or with a blog post or on LinkedIn something, or they create a video on YouTube. And now they need topics, right? Especially today. They go on ChatGPT and ask for 10 headlines. And now they take these headlines and, for example, say, you should talk, because of your industry, you should talk about what success really means in its core. And now they are afraid to really dig deep and express what they believe about that topic. And what they do is they go on Google and say, what does Tony Robbins say about success? What does Ed Milet say? And now they have all these ideas and they read all that stuff and agree to it. And now they come up with their own script and share it. I think that's a big mistake, and this is not how you build a brand. You're always in the shadow from someone, and your opinion is not out there. And that creates something on a subconscious level. We are not good enough all the time. We don't have the self-confidence. We don't take the self-responsibility to share what we truly mean and believe. And we follow someone else and channel through us what they believe, instead of standing up and say, okay, this is who I am, this is what I believe, and I want the world to know it, and here is why, or whatever. So to copy other people, to listen to other people and say what they say and believe, and to not put ourselves into the position of not caring what anybody thinks about it, because I thought about it before I speak. I think it's a very bad example to build a brand, because then it's never me. And again, a true personal brand is the expression of who I truly am. When we then look against that example to those who truly make an impact, one of the best examples, because I speak for him, I wrote a book with him, Brian Tracy. I mean, if we look at what Brian built in his career, he's known for who he is because of who he is, not because of who he copied. I think Brian wrote, are you familiar with Brian Tracy?
No.
Oh, Brian Tracy, I'm sure a lot of your audience are, is the guy who wrote Eat That Frog, No Excuses, The Psychology of Selling, like all the salespeople out there know Brian. But he built the brand for himself based on sharing his truth through books. Same thing with people that we know, Tony Robbins, he stands for something, or new age people like Alex Hosmosi, Andy Elliott in sales, like all these people build a brand because they are brave enough to go out and say, this is who I am, this is what I believe, and I go for it with consistency. I don't let anything and anyone reframe what I believe because of their opinion and experiences. They just go out and they're fine with it, because we don't need to be friends with everybody. We want to have impact, and it's fine if people don't follow us for who we are. It's much more important that we stay true to ourselves and express who we are. And this is the big difference on how we create a successful brand versus a brand that will not, or it's not even a brand actually, it's just someone who tries. It comes always down to the 4 core principles. Who am I? What or who is my customer audience? Do I truly want to have impact, and what impact do I want to have? And what do I want them to believe about me? And now I need to organize that truth in a way that everything that I give from me in articles, on podcasts, on TV interviews, on social media, everything is aligned with each other, so that the receiver really start to understand my point and who I am. versus to, again, copy other people.
I think this is gold because it's so important to understand that it's so hard to be yourself. A lot of people are afraid of themselves. Like you said it, now I understand more when you said fear, because it's very difficult to say what you believe and think, oh, because I think we're socialized to become friends and to not hurt other people's feelings or try to speak in generalities and say, maybe this or that. But what you just mentioned, what the biggest brands are doing is saying, I believe in this, and this is how I see the world, and I am going for it consistently. And then you might hate me, you might not like what I say, but that's okay. That's what you're trying to tell people too, because it doesn't matter. Where does the process of building, like, where does success come in then? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if this is what people will ask themselves, they will say, okay, that's perfect. I'm gonna be who I am, but what if nobody likes me? What if I don't build a following? Or what if everything I say and then I don't build a business out of this, because I want to build a bit, like you said, we want to start this to get something in return, but what if we don't? So how do you help people overcome that?
Yeah, I think there are a few, and I like the question, there are a few points important. First of all, what you said is to be brave enough. I think it's super important because my opinion and experience always resonate with someone. It doesn't matter on what level we are in business or life, there's always someone who wants to be where we are, and they learn from what we have to say about our journey. Like, we compare ourselves with the top because we go on social media and we follow all these super rich and gurus and like the top of the top. Now we start to compare ourselves. But we start to only look up to them and we compare. And we always subconsciously think we are not good enough, like they are miles away. Instead of looking down and say, hey, this is where I am. How many people underneath me would love to be where I am? This is my audience. They learn from me. They trust me. They believe in me. They need me. It's my obligation to help them grow, instead of only look up and compare. That's one thing. The second thing is, I believe that it is very important to really start that self-journey and to have that conversation with myself and to say, okay, what do I want and why? But to really take the time and sit down. Not superficial, quick here and there, but go to Starbucks, take a week off, take half a day off, take a journal with you, and really ask yourself the essential questions of business and life. Who am I? What do I truly want? Who would I love to work with? Where do I see myself in 5 years? If I would have a genie and I can say, hey, 3 wishes, what would that be? Can I close my eyes and actually imagine myself to be there? When I talk with executives, I always ask, like, do you have a vision, a vision in life? Yes. Do you have a vision statement? Yes. Okay, can you read it to me or tell it to me? And many don't have a vision. Those who have it need to read it. And when they read it, I say, okay, how many times every single day do you visit that future? Can you close your eyes and be there? How does it look like, feel like, smell like? What is your reality in that specific moment? Is reality that achieved future? Or is it you sitting here dreaming about an illusion? Like, that's all a decision that we can make. But most people don't do that. They just write something down and dream about something or have milestones and hunt and pushed towards something instead of really taking the time. Is this really what I want? Why do I want it? How do I want it to be? There's the law of attraction. We all try to, or we hear that manifest, you draw it in your life and all that stuff. I don't believe in that. I believe that everything already exists in the quantum field. Everything exists. Everything we can imagine is real. And it's not about us drawing things into our lives. It's us matching the frequency of what already exists. So when we have a current state of being here and what we want to achieve exists already somewhere out there, it's on us to become that version and have that frequency that matches what already exists. So it's personal growth. So I need to grow, and it starts with knowing what I want, knowing why I want it, do something every single day to achieve that, and then we need patience, because success is, for me, success is achievement. If I do something and I fully do it in the moment, I do it because I do it, not because I bear the fruits. Like, I do it fully in the moment just to do it. That's success for me, because I achieved something in that moment. That's when Bruce Lee said, be water, my friend. And be water. Don't just take a shower, for example. Be water, or be air, or be love, or be whatever you want to do. Try to be it. And in that same process, I believe that if we ask ourselves these essential questions, we do this self-discovery, we take the time very intentionally, we write it down, it's no longer just a thought, we keep birth, we actually write it down, we keep birth, we put it physically into the world, we have it in front of us, we can close our eyes and get there, we can imagine it, smell it, be it. We create, or we rise our frequency and go closer to that. And then it doesn't matter if I have the follower, if I have instant reply. It's just a question of time. I think it's much more important to really be fully in the moment, do it for the right reason, from within, and let the rest be. It's not, we cannot control everything. The response is something that we, again, need to be brave enough to say, okay, I did it because I wanted to do it. I did it fully with the true intention and love and passion, and that is the main act. The rest is not in my control. Just trust and receive. It's a question of time. And I just, a true believer is, if the intention if it comes from the place of love, from the true passion, it always resonates with the right people. And then we need to put ourselves in the state of receivership. Am I able to receive?
Yeah, yeah. And it hit me in the core what you just said, because my experience developing my personal brand, people ask me, what are the results? What happened? Like, have you gotten this? Have you done that? What are the results? Like, what's the bottom line? And I've done what you just said. I've done the introspection. What do I get from this? And honestly, I get the life I want to live.
No.
I get to meet incredible people every day. I get to talk to geniuses and ask them questions. I get to do things and learn and improve myself and then grow. So what are the likes? What are the follows? What are the subscribers? You know that doesn't compare to the value that you get by knowing yourself, by doing what you like, by doing things that are outside of your control, and not even worrying about what's out of your control, what's in your control.
Right.
You could enjoy this conversation, or you could be thinking, is this going to get likes? Who cares?
Yeah.
Is this going to get followed? Who cares? I think it's also a way of overcoming that fear of, okay, now I did this, but no one might see it. It's like, it doesn't matter. You already got the value from it.
Right. And this is exactly what I meant before. If you're doing it to have that response or follower, you do it for the wrong reason. But if you do it to be in the moment, in this conversation right now, and truly mean it and be it, the conversation, then it is achieved. That for me is success we did it successfully because I was able to live that moment of my life fully, and the rest again is not in my control. And then what you said before, to be able to live your life like this, that comes back to core values, right? If you, for me, example, love, harmony, and fun. If I can experience that every day, I love and enjoy my life. One thing that I believe is also important, and we do that, for example, every day when we have a team meeting, we start with appreciation. We appreciate every day something, like we saw, okay, I'm starting today, I appreciate, and then something from in business or life, to really focus on what we appreciate, the good things, because it's super easy to find all the negative stuff that we don't like and experience all day. But we can train ourselves to see the positive and to appreciate it. And that makes a complete difference in our lives. And yeah, in every minute to come after appreciation, it's just a different energy, a different frequency.
I love how you've mentioned frequency, energy, personal growth. You know, there's so much more to personal branding. It's not just
Right.
And I love that this conversation wasn't like you should do Instagram and you should do 10 reels a day, because that doesn't make or break anything. But really, when you start to touch the core, that's where it starts to shine. That's where more comes out. Very, very interesting. How do you see personal brand evolving in the next 3 to 5 years? And maybe we can start like, what do you think is the most important thing to focus this year?
Great question. So the next 3 to 5 years, personal branding goes up like this, because the importance is like the way how social media and AI and all that stuff involved. I think we need to differentiate ourselves, and the only way to truly differentiate ourselves is if we can express who we are. That's a fingerprint that exists exactly one time, and we are in control of that. How do we want to express ourselves? And that comes back to self-discovery, self-development, and then share. That's number one. I think it increases. I write a book. It should be out in May. Middle May, a new book about the personal branding blueprint, where I talk a lot about frameworks and stuff like that. That's number one. Then, what everybody should focus on this year are two main things. Do the work, like sit down. Who are you? Who is your client? What is the value and impact you provide, the impact you want to have? Who do you serve? Why do you serve them? Like, what do you do for them versus what is in it for me? To really be clear on that. And then, and I really believe this is the most important thing, to do that first, to take that serious, because this is the foundation where every personal brand is built on long term. Without that foundation, it's going to break. And break can mean I achieve my things short term, but it may fall. I achieve my thing financially, but I'm not fulfilled. Like, we create those things. It doesn't matter what we experience. At the end, Tony Robbins always say, it doesn't happen to you, it happened for you. I would say it happened through you, based on the decisions that we do. We face results, or we face a response of what we put out. But then once that core foundation is built, then go out and come with a strategy. And one of the strategy, I can put that in 1 minute here. Go and reserveyourname.com, pascalbachmann.com, whatever your name is.com. Go and buy that domain, build an authority website. You can go on Fiverr for $100, $200. Have something that expresses who you are, your core values, your why do you do what you do, what is your main offer, who do you work with, like, so that you teach Google who you are and what you stand for. And domain, an authority domain or website. Then I would sign up on all social media channels, at least 4 or 5, like LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, IG, like a lot of these Facebook with your name, not with anything else. It need to be your name. the exact name that you have somehow in that handle, because every social media platform, because they have such a high domain authority, if that domain authority who ranks on Google is attached with your name, or your name is attached there, you're going to rank on the first page of Google. Then beside that, I would utilize the VARK model. VARK stays for VARK, video, audio, writing, read and write, and kinesthetics. When you create content, I would be smart. I would use videos all the time. Create video content with script or without script, whatever match. I never use a script. I always pretend, maybe that's a tip, I always pretend, if you would be on stage, you have a speech for 1,000 people. After the speech is done, you have a Q&A session, and someone asks, hey Pascal, what do you think about that? What would you say? Spontaneous, boom. You cannot go in script, like just say what you believe. To really record that stuff and then utilize the VARK model, because within every target audience, we have different learning types. We have, within our target audience, we have people who only consume YouTube videos. They need to have visual stuff. They would never read. Then you have another part within your target audience. They only read and do notes and write and read books and articles and all that stuff. And then you have others that don't have time for that stuff. They just watch a podcast while they drive to work. But you want to serve all of them, because it's what you said before, Ahmad, it's not, we don't do that for us, we do it for them. And we want to give them something that they can consume and learn from us in their preferred way of learning. So when you do these videos, you then can create reels and shorts, or tell someone do reels and shorts. You can extract the MP3, so you have a podcast, and you can transcribe the whole video and turn it into articles. So you have one thing done, and you utilize the VARK model. You can publish articles on free platforms like Medium, Vocal Media, Elephant Journal. You can sign up on free contributor accounts, who again have the domain authority, and you can share your opinion as an expert. Write and publish these articles for free. They're going to rank you. Publish these videos, so you have videos out there. And make some pictures and post it on all social channels. This is how you eventually teach Google who you are and what you do. Google recognizes you and lists all that stuff on page 1, 2, 3, and you start to dominate and be recognized.
You are a masterclass. Pascal, really, I can't thank you enough for sharing your knowledge. It's so obvious how passionate you are about and how deep you've thought about it. I will definitely put all of your details underneath so that people can see you. You have a fan, you have a follower in me. I will buy your book, I will read it, because I know that I still need to learn, I still need to improve. And just listening to you today has helped me already to think, I need to do my homework, I need to visualize, I need to close my eyes and think, where do I want to be? And then how does it smell? How does it feel? How does it look? And work towards that. And I'm very happy we had today's conversation to help with these tools. And then at the end, wonderful framework to work on so that we can get to more people, so that more people can listen to what we have to say. And one of the things that I liked the most was also don't only compare to the guy that's 1,000 feet ahead of you, but also say, hey, I have a responsibility with, if it's 2 people behind me that are happy to hear my news, talk to them, nurture them.
Thank you very much. Yeah, appreciate that. And we all learn every day. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you again, Pascal. Just one more question. Mm-hmm. What inspires you in the work you do today?
What inspires me?
Yes.
I think the results and the reactions of our clients, because they realize it's much more than they thought it is. Everybody, when they come, not just with the personal branding, also with the business and life coaching, Everybody's always fixing or try to fix a problem. I just need to make that example real quick because it demonstrates
Of course.
exactly what I mean. Most entrepreneurs and business owners who come and they want to scale from 6 to 7, from 7 to 8 figures, and they don't know why they scale, they try to find the bottleneck in business. They come and say, "We check the numbers, we check the KPIs, we look at everything, we track everything, and I just don't know what it is." And most of the time, it's not, the problem is not in the business. The reason why they don't scale is because their relationship at home sucks. They are not healthy enough. Like, it's everything else but not the business. If they would show up as the fulfilled CEO they need to be in business, they would scale. But they run on 20% capacity and don't realize it. And the rest of life is responsible for that, which is their decision and responsibility. But that is something that I'm very passionate about, to make them understand business is just part of life. There's much more. That's why I've created the Core Four. The Core Four, it's all about health, mind, harmony, and wealth. They are all interconnected. So the next time someone is on a business challenge and think like, how the heck do I fix that? I would consider reflecting all areas in life, and often the answer is there. And to see that awakening from all these people in all these different areas is something that inspires me to keep going.
It's the most rewarding when the expectation is high, but then your delivery is 10 times higher.
Yeah, and not because I'm so good, just because they got it.
They got it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I can see that. Thank you again, Pascal, for coming. I really, really enjoyed this conversation.
Me too. Thank you very much for having me, Ahmad.